I didn't have a voice, so I couldn't have broadcast if I wanted to. Or I could have, and everyone would have been happy that I was quiet. Anyway, last week there was an announcement that the Xbox 360 support for the original Defiance game will be shut off in the coming weeks of this month. And there are a lot of people worried about the future of the original game and just the Defiance brand in general in terms of a video game. So I thought I'd use this non-event week to run around doing my dailies and just chatting a bit. I'm titling Past, Present, and Future of Defiance, but it's my past, present, and future. No, none of this is research. It's all off the top of the head. And if people happen to pop into chat and get derailed, so be it. And make sure I'm all set up here. Start playing some and chatting some. So I've been just focused on Defiance 2050 for these live streams and the project I've been working on. There's been some overlap with the original game, and I've popped into the original game here and there because of some features that were not carried over that were helpful for capturing imagery that I needed for the guide. May as well queue up for co-op because there's no final at the moment. And it had been well known that there was a transition after Gamigo had purchased Tryon, that they moved the servers. Moving the servers physically, moving to service, I don't know what it was. But basically after a transition which included downtime for some people and afterwards the entire game being affected, in particular the Xbox 360 version. The original game had some issues because it was developed as a console-first game by a team that was really familiar with PC. And so the PC version ended up suffering from a fair number of limitations just because of the way they decided to live with the console limitations. And there was a much bigger difference between the consoles last generation, namely the PS3 used split memory as opposed to the Xbox 360 used unified. So it's fairly well known that the PC ran the best, and then the Xbox 360 ran at a lower resolution but a fairly consistent frame rate, and then the PS3 had some problems with chugging and sometimes delays in pulling things up, because the game is based on what's going on in the open world right now, my equipped weapons, my powers, everything like that, and what happens when I pull up this screen, when it has to check my inventory, when it has to check what's going on the map. And that's going to form the basis once I get started here in a minute. But where I was going with this
the operation.
Is that
let's roll.
Yeah, you probably need me.
Whoops. Is that after this transition, the PS3 version still ran exactly the way it used to, but suddenly
This is gonna be
the
fun.
Xbox version had huge delays at any time you accessed one of the screens.
Welcome to Ridgecrest Mines,
As if the-
one of my special projects.
Downloading
The
the,
Raiders have a
accessing
gift
the
for timing.
inventory
My employees had
database
just
or
unearthed some
seeing
artwork when the
the
Raiders
activities
started.
in the world. There was something going on. It wasn't
That was enthralling, really. Step
It wasn't
aside,
coming
please.
back
I'll
to me.
get
There's
this
a
door
delay,
open for us.
30 seconds or more, often.
Damn parasite. got what they deserved. Let's go.
So obviously, once the Xbox 360 people were coming into this, there wasn't much reason for them to stick around. You know, the PS3 people were already used to the performance they had. But they kept promising that, and this is all me reading after the fact because I wasn't following the main game's issues, that, you know, the Xbox 360 people who were consistent, either members of the Patron Pass program, where they were paying a little bit of money every month for some bonuses, but basically supporting the game. You know, why should they keep playing given these limitations? It's almost unplayable in certain ways. And so during this last event, which was still advertised for all platforms, they still ran real money promotions and everything. Shortly after it was over, they announced the Xbox 360 servers were going to be closing, I think May 19th, sometime a little bit later this month. And in addition to the normal outcry of, you know, great time to tell us how we spent a bunch of money, I don't really think that that was such a big deal, because I don't think a lot of people were able to tolerate. Was it on? You know, maybe there were a lot of people playing there that were suffering through it. All I know is that the larger community is the issue that I'm responding to here. Is this the portent that the original game is shut down entirely? That all Defiance is going to shut down? And of course, Gamigo's response is that it's not an isolated decision. It's likely based on not wanting to hear the complaints, because they don't want to see the problem. And I could go back to and say that's what was going on then, and this is what's changed. Got that right. Didn't get this. Now that was worth checking more information on.
Every damn dollar that's going
So we're going to go back to the beginning. And Defiance. A game which I did not play at launch, as I'm not a big MMO guy.
This is the thanks I get.
I have a bunch of MMOs. I had the disc for, even ones that didn't last very long, like Auto Assault.
Down there! The door on the
I was willing
right.
to give them a try, but particularly the point and click turn-based battling is not my thing. Someone who likes role-playing games, that's for role-playing with your friends. I've got a game engine that's reacting to me in real time, and I want
They're behind us.
my play to be,
Bad move coming
no matter how poor I am, I want it to be reflective of my ability. There's a little bit of stats involved here that's outside of your control, but not that major. It's mostly a skill game.
I saved us. I'm getting out of here.
But I had been reading about third-person shooters. At the time Defiance came out, I was still an Xbox 360 collector. Up until this generation, I was in a financial position where I could afford to get all the games. And I generally did, particularly focused on collection editions. And I would boot every game up, usually play up till the end of a tutorial or end of a first mission or whatever, and at that point I could have a sense, is this a game I'm going to come back to, or is it just going to go on the shelf? But Defiance wasn't on the list, because it was an MMO, and the idea that, oh yeah, it's going to be just like any other third-person shooter, but an MMO, I just hadn't read enough. Or I would have been on top of it. Plus, at this point, I had moved home to take care of my father, and I was spending a lot more time on the PC because I had been away from PC gaming for a while, and I was on there basically trying to organize things.
You're working now, right?
And it was at that one day where Defiance was on sale. And as I was no longer in the same financial position,
My masseuse is gonna have to work overtime.
anything that was a bargain
Speaking of tight
that
squeezes,
fit within the budget, I'd give that a shot.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long for me to fall in love with the basic mechanics, which allows me to go back to the beginning. Tryon Worlds, the creators of Defiance, were mostly known for porting Asian area MMOs to North America. So they weren't really known for creating their own stuff. But
All right.
Defiance was their big shot. That, you know, they had an established name in the MMO space
Got the Raiders
through the
cornered and
success of
desperate. But remember,
certain
a
these
trap
MMOs
rat
they
is
brought
always the
over.
most dangerous
And they
rat.
were being extremely ambitious. They were going to
Never
launch a
mind,
game
just
and a
shoot
television
them.
show and
And
essentially a
the rats.
multimedia
They
franchise.
shouldn't be here.
That
Fire up the turrets!
Those guns are gonna keep firing until we shut
was
down
going
the
to do something
generator.
that the MMO space had never seen. And in order to do this, they were putting in big MMO money. Hollywood production values, because maybe a sci-fi network, but it was still a Hollywood production.
You should have run.
And the ambition was that not only was it a game, TV, one big media empire, but they were going to cross over. Because there were going to be events happening in the show that would be reflected within the game, and
Heads up, trouble's
stuff
coming.
in the game that would be poured over to the show. Now, there was very little in the long run the other way around. But it is worth mentioning that some of these things that we're going to get to in the
That's
future,
last of those bastards.
it's very easy to laugh
Next
or
up,
scoff at
the
here at the very
excavation.
beginning. But
Scout ahead and confirm the room is clear.
knowing what
And
we
open
know
the door.
now is where is the hardest part of
Can't take any
having
more
this
surprises.
conversation.
I'm coming for you.
See that vault door? The excavation chamber is on the other side. Doubly sealed for maximum security.
Being out of the loop compared to where I had been as a gamer at the time.
Shoot it whenever you can.
Most everything when I started playing Defiance was a surprise. My first thought was, here's a game which is essentially like any other open world shooter. But there's a bunch of other guys running around as opposed to Saints Row or anything else where there's a co-op component. I don't have to set up a group.
We got
They're
more
just
raiders
there.
incoming.
Better luck.
And there are events happening. And there's over 100 people. There's 200 people here. They're all over the map. There's people here that aren't at the other one. Big. So I was getting my feet wet, and I'm guessing this is fairly common in MMOs. There are people out there that are offering to help newbies, and there are a lot of people who spam clan invites anybody who's not in the clan and things like that. And I happened to meet some people, and one guy in particular who I sort of got a different feel for the game than people get nowadays. And that's because, one, Defiance 2050 does not have built-in voice chat. Not that this guy and I did voice chat, but it's part of the larger change in how community exists within the game. And also the lack of rewards for just doing things in the open world as opposed to going to the major activities.
I'm out of here.
Let's see if we got a final up we can hit. Nope. And so here we are in this open world, and I've done some story missions, and I'm getting to understand the world. My first thought is this thing isn't very big, and it almost seems like it was not meant as an MMO. It was meant as a single-player game that they just added this in, but that's more the feel that they were going for than in terms of the way the open world was designed compared to the way quests and other things are set up. The story of this game is fairly long. It's a full-length third-person shooter game. Story length doesn't skimp. It's not just a couple hours. But as you're doing the story missions, you can be running into other people who are in the same spot for another purpose. And that was cool. But the main thing was the shooting worked. Having the right feel that you're getting the feedback, if I use this weapon on this guy in this circumstance, it's going to take this many bullets, and I'm going to take this much damage, I'm going to have to run away at this point. You get a feel for a game, and when the mechanics are working and when they're not. And I was very surprised at how well they were working. And it appears that a lot of my good feelings were not the same as the people who had pre-ordered the game or were playing for launch. There had been a pre-order special where the game had opened up early. There had been beta testing, but there was also a period where people who pre-ordered the game would have a head start
an arc fall on its way.
with boosts and all kinds of other stuff. And from what I can understand, it didn't work at all. Not a single person was able to reliably play the game during that period of time. If someone was, come in and correct me, please, because I'm just going based on what I know from people who complain
By the raiders, and we need
about
to clear this place
problems at launch.
Disabling their sentry guns will get us one step closer to our goal.
And that rolled over into at least the first month of the game. And for a game that's 24/7, months, huge amount of time around launch. And sort of set the stage for where we are today. That
The turrets are down.
a combination of unrealistic expectations and early problems were enough to really sabotage the game's reputation and therefore contribute to the situation we're in today. The great unknown in maintenance mode. Because Trion's specialties was porting, despite bringing in some top talent and having a decent team and everything like that, there were just a lot of things that no one had done before. MMO space for 3 separate platforms in 2 different regions. But I didn't see any of these problems. All I saw was was a
That
pretty
sentry
fun
gun won't
game.
be giving us any more trouble.
But the pretty fun game, has real costs behind it, and the fact that during that time there was really no cross-play, and there was still the standard stigma of mouse, keyboard versus controller. So here was a brand new game which was buy to play, running 3 platforms, 2 regions each. And while they were using, who knows how many hardware servers were necessary, but they were spinning up their virtual servers depending on load. And while there were lots of talk in the early days about how the PC audience dropped precipitously, that was the platform I was playing on for the most part in the early days, before I started playing PS3 and Xbox 360 as well. And we were made aware of the 200-person limit for a shard for a virtual server. But because of the mechanic of being able to go to friend or go to clanmate, they may not be
Good work. Those turrets won't be a
launching
problem
new
anymore.
users or players who are logging in onto a full shard. But it didn't mean that the shards weren't getting bigger, and they definitely were. There were times where the entire mini-map, it wasn't just a collection of dots. Everything, it was just so merged together. And this was before events. Events changed everything. But just open world, and some of the rules of the game were different. We had what was known as tagging,
The gun's down.
where you would go to a major.
Hello?
All you had to do was do a little
Whoever's
tiny
out
bit
there,
of damage,
We need some help inside the garage.
and you would still get the same full rewards as if you stayed all the way through to the end. So you go to one major, damage something, then hop to another, and with 3 majors going on at a time, it was very easy to quickly rack up the keys necessary to get the reward boxes before 2050. Change the rules where you get rewards at the end of an event. It was all about the keys and saving up. Do I want to save up and get the best box, or do I need something right now?
Just in case more of those guys show up.
And not everybody did this tagging thing, so it was very easy to tell that I'm at this one major, just physically to tag it, but there it's packed, and now I'm at another one, it's packed too, and here's a third one, so only got a few people at it. While at the same time, you got all kinds of other events. You had sieges. There was lots of things, lots of people. But the lots of people are as a perspective of another player, not the perspective of what it can take for Tryon to spend the money, to fix the bugs, to market the game. And Tryon was a private company, so we have no records of when decisions were made or what they thought, what they were expecting. All we know is that the game was considered a fairly expensive failure. And while the TV show would go on for 3 seasons, its 3rd season renewal was pretty iffy. And the whole, everything together, it was just considered, it's a dud. There's not much we can do at this point.
I don't have a good feeling about this.
For those of us not following what was going on, all it seemed was,
Oh my God,
hey,
4 turrets.
we bought
Shit.
a season pass, which promised 5 DLC packs. We haven't gotten any of that yet. And what's coming? What are they going to be giving us?
The turrets are under our control now.
We figured, there's a good game, but what we didn't know, or it wasn't as widely known as it is nowadays, was that Tryon has essentially laid off their entire development staff prior to the launch of the game.
Didn't think it was going to be that easy.
And it ended up
Time to have some
the fixes to get things done
They disabled the
with a
turrets.
crunch
You're gonna have to take them out.
for just a few employees.
What a mess. I don't know where the miners go from
And
here.
forums full of complaints about bugs. Forums full of people complaining where's the DLC that I paid for. And we had a lot of people who were excited about the game. People who were coming up with guides and tips. And advertising their clans. Didn't seem like a dead game. Didn't seem like anything different than any other game that was kind of new. And I was only paying attention to the PC space. Had a little gang of people even before I joined Clan Kronos. And it was pretty fun. We had a little routine. Back then, in terms of contracts, were very similar to the bounties of 2050, where it was, kill 50 hellbugs or use this particular weapon. It wasn't like what contracts became, where it was just doing conflict sites over and over again. And so you would wander around with a group, text chat. And while you were wandering, you were improving skills, testing
More dark matter
weapons,
incoming.
and learning about some of the game mechanics that would eventually change dramatically. These were the days where four people taking on a Viscera was a challenge. Not one person blowing a Viscera array with one clip. People would test, what's the distance of aggro. Setting up very far away to try sniping bulge and bulge emergencies. That was something you went looking for, because they were a challenge. They weren't just it's a bulge, let's drive on by. So you'd wander through the areas where there were a lot of emergencies, particularly ones next to each other for the emergency gameplay. Across from Last Chance was a lot of fun. The emergencies were a little bit packed tighter back then. Not a huge amount, but it was noticeable. And it was always fun to aggro one particular enemy group into a camp with another, and the ones that were chasing you make sure that one of the other enemies was between you and them, so that when they attacked, they ended up hitting one of the other enemy groups, and they would start fighting each other, and you could either join the fight, or more fun would be to back out and watch it. Watch how it changed. Watch when they reach their rubber band limit. Sometimes have to run back because the one emergency you dragged is almost too far away. Or see what it took, sometimes like a Monarch and a Viscera, that was a great fight.
3, 2, 1.
So community-wise, yeah, people were upgrading. There was some trading going on. mostly about, hey, I went searching this spot on the map. There was nothing there, but I was just curious. Or I played the story back in the original Defiance at the outset. We started the story about one guy hung out with his clan. I know it at least done it 50 times. He probably did a lot more than he just talked about restarting it all the time. And would try different combinations of weapons, different ego loadouts.
Lita.
And for him, the mundane running around, doing conflict sites, doing emergencies like that wasn't particularly entertaining. Even when he grew, he sort of liked the structure of the story. Plus he just liked fighting Nim, and it was the only way he could get to do him again. Which one didn't I do? Oh, I haven't done hard falls. And there wasn't a crazy variation of event weapons, things like that at this point. It was just the original game had what now are called mod fusions in 2050, were just synergies. And they had two kinds of synergies, ones which were based on having two weapons with the same synergy equipped with generic mods, or mod-based synergies where you only got the bonuses based on having a mod of that synergy and a weapon of that synergy. Let's get a timeout. What should we do? So I'd say at this point where I'd only played the PC version, but I was playing every day, mostly for the social aspect, taking care of my dad, and not really, and at that point no longer working, but not having the option to go anywhere. That sort of was my social outlet in the days before social media. And I got the people in the clan, everything else. I got to hear about their lives, their jobs, everything like that. So that was my social life. That was my social life while playing a game, which was fun.
Goodness, you don't mess around.
This should be interesting.
Just the thought of, no game lasts forever, just really wasn't a question. At this point, at least, we knew we had 5 DLCs coming. We paid for that. There was certainly no advances, like, we're going to give it something immediately. There's too much money spent for them to immediately give up.
How you do it, but you just don't quit.
At this point, the big question is, what is DLC? Are we gonna get some cool new stuff? But there was already the grumbling about the end game, and my guess is not a lot of thought went into the end game because they figured with the book to the TV shows, they were gonna have a lot of options. And they didn't really have to think about that. They were gonna do seasons,
You don't mess around.
additional story missions as time progressed.
That was incredible. Keep it up.
And we were certainly looking forward to that content as players. I don't think we really understood how precarious financially the game was out of the gate. Cost overrun. Sales goals from the beginning. Projections putting us sour. Basically framing the game in a way that to make it tough for them to really be committed to delivery and everything they want to, much less effectively.
That was incredible. Keep it up. You're unstoppable. Not sure how you do it, but you just don't quit. I'm picking up dark matter chatter on a local frequency.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's see if we can't get an arc fall now. They're really trying. Let's see if it's going to happen. And there was already some fan support sites up. Defiance Data, which continues to stay to be the best resource for the game. If I was restless, not working, and I wanted to do something to contribute myself. And it seemed to me that if you put together the right kind of system, you might be able to talk the company into setting up the kind of hooks that were necessary to make it more useful. In this case, extending the trading system. Trading was a major feature of the original Defiance, and in more ways than one. And its negatives are the reason why you'll see trading in 2050. Just dealing with the customer support, and it's all by design. It's all that they did think through dialogues. They didn't make robust enough dialogue systems so they could be malleable as they figured out their issues. So I thought I was going to create this site called the Holter Cafe, which would be a place for people who were wanting to trade, list their items, and arrange to meet up with you.
Destroy the monolith's motivator. Destroy the monolith's motivator. Vulnerable. Hit it with everything we've got. I'm detecting multiple Votech equipment signatures. I believe we've got dark matter incoming.
So I started collecting every weapon in the game, all the mods, taking pictures, figuring out, you know, what stuff, how people would interact with lists.
Keep an eye out for incoming artillery shots.
Steps involved. Setting up a contact system. It worked. It was a nice side bit for when I wasn't actually playing the game.
Multiple Votech equipment signatures. We've got dark matter incoming. Drive is exposed. Let's light it up.
And no matter the complaints that, you know, look at the simultaneous users drop.
Now you see.
Feel like there's nothing new to do, we're just doing the same thing over and over again. It bothers me because I'm an arcade kid. But just doing rote things over and over again was part of the fun for me. That was some design of arcade games. It's been another corner. So having a good gameplay loop is what I look for. Getting better gear, anything like that. Certainly nice, but we had a lot of options.
I'm detecting multiple Votech equipment signatures. I believe we've got dark matter incoming. armor on the monolith's leg is vulnerable. We need to destroy it. We've got to destroy that TACMAC drive.
My little friends.
Time to take it in the air, eliminate it early.
Keep an eye out for incoming artillery shots.
Meanwhile, the TV season had run, and people were just curious, when's this first DLC going to drop? There have been, patch notes, there have been fixes, but there have been no new content. We're all promised that the content was coming with the DLC.
Now's our chance to cripple that motivator. The TACMAC drive is exposed. Let's light it up.
Everyone should have been always worried based on the removal of staff following launch. That yes, there's always going to be some kind of reduction. There was a crunch, push it out the door, but that certainly wasn't boding well in terms of what was coming in the future. You would have figured with 5 DLCs planned for a season pass, even if it was a season was an entire year, rather than a TV season or something, that wasn't going to be that much time. But I wasn't going to be one of the naysayers in the forum. I was trying to be positive as I am now, because the root of what we've got here is a great game that there's no equivalent to. And that's going to be really the focus of how that kind of changed with the DLC tomorrow. I finish up contracts here. I'm already starting to lose my voice a little bit, so I'm going to stop the rambling. So if someone will come out with a question of their own, tale of the early days. We'll take care of the mutants, and then we'll take care of detonators while doing the Thornley rope.
Drive time.
I'm going to check, where am I in Thornley row? Oh, I'm only one here. Defiant few. Come on, let me get on my bike. find a few that I'm far along on.
Time to go.
Yeah, I'm 6. Okay. So I'll stick with that and keep doing the throttle arrow on the PC. You mess around on both. No.
3, 2, 1.
He's really bad. Oh man. Oh, I thought I could make it. Back there, bodily functions. Take a snapshot of the Defiant Few vendor before potentially pop to the next level. Got a bunch of dudes running around here.
2, 1. We got more mutants incoming. Careful.
Why, how do you not like to run around mass slaughter? Challenge. Play those games with challenge.
Careful.
Clear out some inventory here first. You take a picture of that, but otherwise, get rid of it. Went out of that for some reason. Need a little bit of breathing room. Really get the kind of weapon I want for cleansing. At least enough to activate all of the mods. I'll deal with the rest later. At least I cleared up a little bit of space. I'll stick to what I got. Let's do some poultry. If I'm on this, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it.
Our client is offering a substantial reward for information leading to the recovery of his property. Hey, you. Have you seen an Ark hunter named Nolan? Has an Arathian sidekick? There's something our client would like to discuss with him.
In happier news, I have 3D models of every appearance item up on the site linked to the static pictures I created earlier. So if you want to get a better picture of an outfit you were considering picking up or trying to get the pursuit for, you can actually get a good view of it from any angle. I've only got a few vehicles up, some NPCs. Doing the weapons and vehicles looks like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge that they're doing. They do some kind of overlay to do the coloring as opposed to one of the textures. Or if there's a texture, it's not named the same as the other vehicle textures, and I haven't been able to find it yet. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to exit and relaunch.